tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the Cottage Garden placemat and table runner. This is part of the Cottage Garden table set, which is a pattern that you can find on my blog and also as an ad-free PDF. For this tutorial, I am using Yarnsmiths Cotton Aran, which comes in some absolutely stunning shades. This is the shade Ecru, which I've used for my placemats and my table runner, but I have also used a pop of these colours here when it comes to doing the napkin holder, which are absolutely adorable and is available in another video. For the placemat and the table runner, I am using a 4.5mm crochet hook. You will need a pair of scissors and a darning needle for when it comes to sewing in your ends, and some stitch markers will also come in really handy. I'm going to be demonstrating the placemat in this video, showing you the main stitch pattern. It's actually worked this way, so it's worked from this side upwards and then we turn it for it to be the actual placemat itself. The placemat and the table runner are the same, it's just that the table runner is going to be a little bit wider, and I'll give instruction for that at the beginning, but I will be following the placemat pattern for this video. The only other things that you're going to need for this pattern is a blocking mat. I just use a really cheap play mat for this, and then also some blocking combs or some blocking pins, as well as a steamer or an iron to help with the blocking, because that's going to be important for this project. So go ahead, grab everything that you need and let's get started. So we're going to begin by creating a slip knot, and you can do this in whichever method you prefer. Go ahead and insert your hook. So for the placemat, we're going to begin by chaining 45, and then for the table runner, we're going to chain 59. So the pattern is going to be the same. It's going to be the same repeats, but the table runner will be wider. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through. That's 1, 2 and 3, 4, 5 and 6. Go ahead, pause the video, chain 45 for the placemat or 59 for the table runner, and then meet me back once you're ready. So now that you've done your chain, we're going to work our row 1. So we're going to be working into the back bumps of the chain, so these little lumps here, rather than into the front of the chain. So we're going to work into the 4th chain from the hook, so we don't count the one that's on the hook. We have 1, 2, 3 and 4. If we turn that, there is our 4th chain right here. And we're going to work a treble crochet, which is a US double crochet. We're going to yarn over, go into that back bump, yarn over, pull through, you'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, you'll have 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that is our first treble crochet, which is a double crochet in US terms. And this skipped chain here, that also counts as a treble, US double. So then we have a pattern repeat, which we're going to work all the way across. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. We're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work a double crochet, which is a US single crochet, into the next 5 stitches. So we'll go into that next stitch, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through, you'll have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. That's a UK double, US single crochet. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we have 5 double crochets, US single crochets. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work 1 treble, which is US double, into the next 3 stitches. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1, 2 and 3. And then we're going to start that pattern repeat again. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and then work 5 double crochets, US single crochets into the next, or 1 double crochet, US single crochet into the next 5 stitches, should I say. So we have 2, 3, 4 and 5. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and then work 3 treble crochets, US double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Now we're going to go into the last part of this row, but I will just say I am doing the placemat version. Your table runner version is going to give different repeats all the way across. Although the pattern is the same, you do have extra repeats, so make sure that you do check out the actual written pattern for that. So now that we've done our repeats, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 chains, and then work a double crochet, US single crochet into the next 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, chain 3, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then work 1 treble US double crochet into the last 2 stitches, 1 and then into the next 2. So there we have our row 1. As I say, for the table runner, you are just going to have an extra set of repeats in. So do bear that in mind as you're working through this. So now we'll move on to row 2. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which counts as a treble crochet, US double crochet. And then we're going to start our pattern repeat straight away. So we're going to work 3 trebles, US doubles, into this chain 3 space just here. So we have 1, 2 and 3. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip the next double crochet, so that's just here, US single crochet, and then work 1 double crochet, US single crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. So as we had 5 stitches in the row previous, we now have 3 stitches in this row, so we're just eliminating those end 2 stitches. We're then going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip the next stitch, so skip that double crochet, and then work 3 trebles, US double crochets into that chain 3 space. 1, 2 and 3. And then we're going to chain 1 and repeat that pattern repeat again. So we're going to work 3 trebles, US double crochets into this chain 3 space, 1, 2 and 3, chain 3, skip this first double crochet, US single crochet stitch, and work 1 double crochet, US single crochet into those 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip this stitch, and then work 3 trebles, US double crochets into that chain 3 space. Chain 1 and repeat that again. However, we're just going to omit the final chain 1, so I'll just show you what that looks like. So we're going to work 3 trebles, US double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, chain 3, skip this next stitch, and then work a double crochet, US single crochet into the next 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, work 3 trebles, US double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to, like I say, omit that chain 1, so we won't do that chain 1, and instead we're going to treble in the top of the chain 3. So in this case it's the turning chain, so we're going to go into that top of that chain 3 with a treble US double crochet to finish off that row. So this is what your work is looking like at the end of row 2. So it looks a bit wobbly, and that's fine. We do have this wave effect on the bottom which is going to stay, but this top section is going to work itself out. So now what we're going to do is going to move on to row 3. We're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to turn my work. Now this chain 6 counts as a treble crochet, US double crochet, and a chain 3. So we have a stitch and a chain 3, and that will be the same from here and throughout the work. We're then going straight into our pattern repeat again. We're going to skip these first 3 stitches and then work 3 treble US double crochets into this chain 3 space. So we have 1, 2 and 3. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip 1 double crochet, US single crochet, going to treble crochet, US double crochet into this center stitch. So we have our 3 stitches here, and we're going to work a treble, US double crochet into that center stitch, like so. We're then going to chain 3, skip that next stitch, and then work 3 trebles, US double crochets into that chain 3 space. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Skip the next 3 stitches and then treble into this chain 1 space. So US double crochet into that chain 1 space. Chain 3. And that is the end of our pattern repeat. So it's a longer pattern repeat here, but let's go ahead and do that again. Essentially, we're looking at these chain 3 spaces and then also the middle of the 3 double crochets, your single crochets, and the chain 1 space. So it's like 3 trebles, 1 treble, 3 trebles, 1 treble, all separated by this chain 3 space, if that helps you to visualize what the pattern repeat is. So we'll start that pattern repeat again. We're going to do 3 treble crochets, US double crochets into this chain 2 space. 1, 2 and 3. Sorry, that was a chain 3 space, not a chain 2 space. And then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, find that center stitch and then work a treble US double crochet into there. Chain 3, 3 trebles US double crochets into that chain 3 space. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 3, find the chain 1 space and work 1 treble US double crochet into there. Chain 3, and then we have the pattern repeat again. So we're going to repeat that pattern repeat again all the way across. The last treble is going to sit in the top of this chain 3 from the beginning of this row, and then we're going to we're going to omit that final chain 3. So I'll just show you what that looks like. We're going to work 3 trebles, US double crochets into this chain 3 space. Chain 3, look for that center stitch and work 1 treble US double crochet. Chain 3, work 3 trebles into this chain 3 space, US double crochets, 2 and 3, and then chain 3, Usually here we'd look for that chain 1 space, but instead we're going to work into the top of this chain 3 from the previous row, and then we're going to miss off that chain 3 from the end of that pattern repeat. So we have our 3 rows here. Again, it might look a little bit crinkly, but the more we add, the better it gets. You can start to see a little bit of a pattern emerging here. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work and move on to row 4. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and we're going to start off with a double crochet, a single crochet into this very first stitch. We're then going to start our pattern repeat. So we're going to work a double crochet, a single crochet into this chain 3 space, like so. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to work 3 trebles into this chain 3 space. So 3 trebles, US double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to chain 1, miss this next stitch, and then work 3 double crochets, and then work 3 treble crochets, US double crochets into that next chain 3 space, like so. We're then going to chain 3, skip the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to double crochet into this chain 3 space, and then also double crochet into this treble crochet. And then we have our pattern repeat again. So we're going to double crochet into the chain 3 space, and what the end of that pattern repeat and the start of the next one creates is 3 trebles all together. 1 in the chain space, 1 in the treble, 1 in the chain space. So the start of our pattern repeat is here, this double crochet, chain 3, skip 3 stitches, 3 trebles, US doubles into that next chain 3 space, chain 1, skip the treble, 3 trebles, US doubles into the next chain 3 space, chain 3, skip 3 stitches, double crochet, US single crochet into the chain 3 space and into the top of the treble. So we're going to do that pattern repeat once more, double crochet, chain 3, skip 3 stitches, 3 trebles, US doubles into that chain 3 space, chain 1, skip a stitch and 3 trebles into that next chain 3 space, chain 3, find that next chain 6 space, which was the last one from the end of the row. Remember how we said this counts as a treble and a chain 3. So we're going to work our last double crochet, US single crochet into the top of this chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3. Obviously it's a chain 6, so you have to count where the 3rd chain is, and that's where we're going to work our last stitch. And this is what it is looking like. So we're now going to move on to row 5. So we have row 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can count like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll move on to row 5. We're going to chain 1, remember that does not count as a stitch. And we're going to double crochet into that very first stitch to get going. And then we are starting a pattern repeat. So we've got double crochet into the next stitch, and then double crochet, US single crochet into the chain space. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 stitches, and then into this chain 1 space, we're going to work 3 trebles, which is US double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip the next 3 stitches, and then work a double crochet, US single crochet into the chain space, and then work 1 double crochet, US single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. Now that is the end of the pattern repeat, but I do want to point out something that we are building just here. So we're going to start the next pattern repeat again, and I'll do that in just a moment, but I just want you to be mindful that we are creating a series of double crochets, US single crochets in this section and here, and it's going to be 3 stitches, 5 stitches, 3 stitches. So if you just keep that in your mind, that's what we're going to be building there. So we'll start that pattern repeat again. So it's double crochet into the next stitch, US single crochet, and then into the chain space. So those 2 stitches have then completed those 5 stitches we've just made. And then when we go on top of this for the next row, we'll do 3 stitches again. So it'll go 3, 5, 3. This will become more apparent the more that you build, but you can kind of see half of it here. So we've done double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the chain space. Of course they are single crochet in US, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 stitches, and then work 3 trebles, US doubles into that chain 1 space, 1, 2 and 3, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 stitches and work a double crochet, US single crochet into the chain space, and then 1 into the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. That's the end of that pattern repeat, but we'll continue into the next repeat and do a double crochet into the chain space, and that has created those 5 stitches just there. Chain 3, skip 3 stitches, work 3 trebles, US double crochets into that chain 1 space, chain 3, skip 3 stitches, and then we're going to work into the chain space with a double crochet, US single crochet, and then into the next 2 stitches. So that takes us all the way to the end, so we don't complete that full section here at the ends. So this is what our work is looking like. We're starting to see this pattern emerge now. We have flowers here and here, but then we're also building 2 more flowers just here, and then you will have half ones on the edge. So let's keep going. Let's do row 6. We're going to chain 1 and turn the work. Now maybe you might guess what we're going to do here, because we have our double crochet stitches, US single crochets. We're going to double crochet into the first stitch and then start our pattern repeat by doing a double crochet into the next stitch. So this is slightly different because it's kind of half of what we're doing in the middle, but we have 2 stitches, 3 stitches, 2 stitches. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and work 3 trebles into this next chain 3 space. So US double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and then work 3 trebles, US double crochets into that next chain 3 space. Chain 3, skip this first double crochet, US single crochet, and then work 1 into the next 2 stitches. So double crochet, US single crochet, 1 and 2. That is the end of that pattern repeat, and then the start of the next repeat will add 1 more double crochet, US single crochet here. So then we have 3, 5, 3. So let's start that pattern repeat again. Double crochet, US single crochet into the next stitch, chain 3, 3 trebles into this chain 3 space, US double crochets, 2 and 3, chain 1, skip 3 stitches and then work 3 trebles US doubles into this next chain 3 space, 2 and 3, chain 3, skip this first stitch and then work 1 double crochet into those next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then we'll repeat that pattern, repeat once more. So double crochet into the next stitch, chain 3, 3 trebles US double crochets into that next chain 3 space, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 3 trebles US doubles into that next chain 3 space, chain 3, skip a double crochet and then 1 double crochet US single crochet into those next 2 stitches. So this is the end of row 6. This is what it's looking like. We'll now move on to row 7. So we're going to chain 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Turn the work. Remember that counts as a treble crochet, US double crochet and a chain 3. We're going to get straight into our pattern repeat. We're going to do 3 treble crochets US doubles into this chain 3 spaces. 1, 2 and 3. Going to chain 3, skip 3 stitches and then work a treble into that chain 1 space. Chain 3, skip 3 stitches and then work 3 trebles into this chain 3 space, US double crochets, 2 and 3, chain 3, skip the next stitch and then work a treble crochet into that central double crochet, US single crochet from the previous row. So we have done a row very similar to this before, but it's just shifted because the flowers are in a slightly different place. So we did this row here, down here, so it's just shifted around. So we will work that all the way across. We'll finish off that pattern repeat by chaining 3 and then start that pattern repeat again. 3 trebles into this chain space, 1, 2, 3, chain 3, a treble US double into that chain 1 space, chain 3, 3 trebles US doubles into the next chain 3 space, 1, 2 and 3, chain 3 and a treble crochet US double crochet into the center stitch of these 3 stitches, chain 3 and then work that again. So we'll do that pattern repeat again, but we are going to miss the final chain 3. So let me show you what that looks like. We'll do our 3 trebles US double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, chain 3, 1 treble US double crochet into that chain 1 space, chain 3, skip 3 stitches, 3 trebles US double crochets into that chain 3 space, chain 3 and then a treble US double into that last stitch. So we don't do a chain 3 after this. We've missed that off because there is no more stitches. And then this is what your work is looking like. We are going to block our work, and this is really going to show off this stitch pattern. So don't worry if it looks a little bit scrunched up right now. So let's move on to row 8. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work, get straight into our pattern repeat. So we're going to work 3 trebles US double crochets into this chain 3 space. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to chain 3, skip 3 trebles, and we're going to work a double crochet into the chain 3 space, US single crochet, a double crochet US single into the treble, and then a double US single into the next chain 3 space. So we've created our 3 stitches just here. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip the next 3 stitches, and then work 3 trebles into that chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and then we start our pattern repeat again. So 3 trebles US doubles into that next chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to create our 3 doubles US singles in this section. So we go into the chain space with a double US single into the next stitch, and then into the chain 3 space. Chain 3, skip 3 stitches, 3 trebles US doubles into that next chain 3 space. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1, and then start the pattern repeat again. 3 trebles US doubles into that next stitch. 1, 2, 3, chain 3. We're going to create those 3 stitches together, so we're going to do double crochet US single crochet into the chain 3 space, then into the top of the stitch, and then into the chain 3 space again. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 trebles US single crochets into this last chain space, 2 and 3, and then we're going to work a treble US double into the 3rd chain from the bottom of that original chain 6. So here is row 8, and then we have the final row that I'm going to show you, which is row 9. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work, and then we're going to treble crochet US double into this same stitch. So before we move on, I'm just going to say this is your marker that this is row 9. When you can see that you've done a chain 3 and a treble into that same stitch, because we haven't done that anywhere else. Here is slightly different. This is the only place that we do that. That is going to be your marker that is row 9 if you're ever counting again, or if you want to look quickly where you are last. So let's start our pattern repeat. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 trebles, and then we're going to create our 5 stitches here. So we're going to go double crochet US single crochet into that chain 3 space, then into the next 3 stitches, 2, 3, and then into the chain 3 space. So we've created our 5 stitches just here. Chain 3, skip 3 trebles, and then into this chain 1 space we're going to do 3 trebles US doubles, and then the pattern repeat starts again. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to create our 5 stitches just here, so double crochet US single crochet into that chain 3 space, into the next 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3, and then into the chain 3 space. Chain 3, skip 3 stitches, and then 3 trebles US doubles into that chain 1 space. 1, 2 3, pattern repeat again, chain 3, we're going to create our 5 stitches here, so double US single crochet into the chain 3, into the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, into the chain 3 space, chain 3, and then we would do 3 trebles into the chain 1 space. However, we're going to do these into the top of the chain 3 from the previous row, and we're only going to do 2. So we're going to omit that final treble and then work those 2 trebles US doubles into the top of that chain 3. So that is the end of row 9. And that is all the demonstration that you need for this work. Now I know that seems like a lot of rows, but because the pattern shifts, you can see that we've created half of this flower here, and then you'll go on to build the next half of this. You're actually repeating the same thing, but the pattern is shifting. So that's why there's 9 rows so far. So you're going to repeat rows 2 to 9. So 2 to 9, twice more for the placemat. For the table runner, you're actually going to do that 11 more times, so that's going to be much longer. So I'm going to go ahead and add my additional rows. So rewind the video, repeat row 2 to 9, twice more for the placemat, 11 more times for the table runner, and then meet me back once you're ready. So I've now done that stitch repeat twice more for my placemat. And what I would say is really important to do right now is block your work. It really does make a difference. So we can see now the pattern looks lovely, but it could definitely be much stronger. If I actually bring this placemat here, which is complete, you can see this has been blocked and the pattern just really comes to life. So I would actually recommend that you block your work before adding the border, and then also give it a little block after adding the border. So I want to show you how I do this because I get asked about this all the time. I actually take my blocking mats, and I have a huge one here. So this is one of my large blocking mats. It's actually a play mat, which you can get for really cheap on Amazon. And then I also have my blocking combs or blocking pins. And what you want to do is you want to take one of your pins. You might just have smaller pins like this, which is absolutely fine. In fact, I use these for this section here. But you want to take your pin. And obviously if you're doing these all at the same time, you can really make sure that you're getting them to the same size. But I'm going to stretch this out at the corners to begin with. I can get it all on camera. So just giving it a gentle stretch. Like so. And then I'm also going to take these smaller pins and I'm going to place them here. So this is what I would do to block my work. I would make sure it's all nice and neat and that it's opened up so you can really see this stitch pattern. I would then take my handheld steamer. I'm not going to do it on camera now, but I just use a clothes steamer and just gently, don't get too close to the fabric. It doesn't matter too much with this cotton, but if it was acrylic, you definitely don't want to go near it with the steam. But you want to start steaming, and at that point, as you're steaming, you'll start to see the fibers relax, and then you can adjust your pins if you need to at that point. But you want to steam it, let it cool off and let it dry, and then when you take it out, this is going to be absolutely stunning. So you want to do that before you add the border, and then you can do it a little bit after as well. So go ahead, do that, block your work, and then meet me back for the border. So let's move on to the border. You are going to turn your work. We don't need to fasten off. And we're going to start off by chaining 1, which does not count as a stitch. We're going to go ahead and start our pattern repeat straight away. So we're going to work a double crochet, US single crochet around the whole of the border. So I will just refer to them as stitches just to make things easier. So remember, that's double crochet, US single crochet throughout the rest of the work. So we're going to do 1 stitch into these first 2 stitches. So we go 1 and 2. If you want to mark your very first stitch, then I would do so now. Remember that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And then we're going to work 3 stitches into this chain 3 space. 1, 2, and 3. And then 1 stitch into the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 3 stitches into the chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3, and then 1 stitch into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. This is actually super easy because it's just basically 1 stitch into a stitch and 3 stitches into the chain 3 space. So 3 stitches into this next chain 3 space, 2, 3, 1 stitch into the next 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 into the chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 into the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 3 into the next chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 into the next 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 into the next chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 into the next 2. So we have 1, and then the last one will be into the top of the chain, like so. We're then going to chain 1 and rotate our work. And now we're going to work down these row ends. So you can identify that we have a row end here. That's a treble row end, US double, another longer row end, and a longer row end. And then we have our clusters of our double crochets, US single crochets, which are the shorter row ends. So we're going to start off by working 3 stitches into these first 3 row ends. So we find this stitch here. I like to go into like the top of the stitch and then into the side of the stitch. That's just how I like to work. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Now if you want to, you can place a stitch marker into the corner. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then that's the corner chain 1 space, just to make it super clear where that is so you're not getting lost. So that's that chain 1 space. We are going to be working into those into the next in the next round. And then so we've done 3 stitches into that first row end, 3 stitches into the next row end, and then 3 stitches into the next row end. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to work 1 stitch into the next 3 row ends. So these are double US single crochet row ends. We'll go 1, 2, and 3. So we then have a pattern repeat all the way down here because we have 5 long row ends and then 3 short row ends, and then 5 long row ends and 3 short, and we'll end up by having 3 of these shorter row ends, 1, 2, 3. So you're going to work 3 stitches into the long row ends, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 stitch into the short row ends, 1, 2, 3. I'll just show you that once more. So 3 stitches into this long row end, 1, 2, 3, and that's our first of our 5 rows. So we'll do the second row end, 1, 2, 3, the third row end, 1, 2, 3, the fourth row end, 1, 2 and 3, and then the fifth row end, 1, 2 and 3. Then we have our short row ends. We're going to do 1 into each of those, 1, 2, 3, and then repeat that all the way down. So you're going to do 3 into the next 5 row ends, 1 into the next 3, and then meet me back and I'll show you just how to finish this last section off where we have our 3 longer row ends. So now that you're at the end, we're going to do those 3 stitches into those last long row ends. So that's 1, 2, and then this last one does feel a little bit tight, but we go 1, 2 and 3, and then chain 1, rotate the work, and then you're going to repeat the same as what we did on the other side. So 1 stitch into those first 2 stitches. This first one can be a little bit tricky, so we go 1 and 2, and it does feel differently as well because this is the underside of the chain we're working in now, so they can be a little bit trickier to work in. Then 3 stitches into that chain 3 space, oops, 2 and 3, and then 1 stitch into the next 5 stitches, etc., all the way across. You're going to chain 1, rotate the work again. Don't forget to pop a stitch marker in there if you needed to, like this. Chain 1, rotate the work, do exactly the same as before all the way down, and then meet me back once you get to the beginning. So now you've worked your way around, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to join with a slip stitch into that first stitch. I'm going to pop my stitch marker back into that chain 1 space, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So this chain 1 is where this stitch marker is showing where that chain 1 space is, so I'm just going to remove that and then start in there with a double crochet US single crochet, chain 1 and double US single. I will just pop my stitch marker back into that very first stitch, and then this is super easy. You're going to work 1 stitch into each stitch all the way across until you get to your next chain 1 space where you have marked your stitch. So we're working all the way across until the stitch before that chain 1 space. So go ahead, work 1 stitch in each stitch and then meet me back once you're ready. So now that you've got to your corner stitch, your marked stitch, you're going to work a double US single, chain 1 and double US single. Rotate the work and then carry on working 1 stitch into each stitch all the way across. So 1 stitch into each stitch, super simple, all the way across to your next chain 1 space. You're going to work your corner, so 1 stitch, chain 1, 1 stitch into the corner, work your way all the way across again, do the same, and then do that all the way around until you get to the beginning, your very first stitch. So go ahead, pause the video, work your way around, working those corners in the chain 1 mark stitch, and then meet me back once you're ready. So once you've worked your way all the way around, we're going to fasten off and pull out the yarn, because we're going to join with an invisible finish. So we're going to thread up our darning needle, and then we have our first mark stitch just here. I'm going to remove my stitch marker. This is the first marked stitch. We're actually going to go into the next one. So through the stitch, and then we want to pull this thread until it goes over that first stitch, and then we're going to go back to the last stitch that we made and go through the center so that that sits nicely over the top of that very first stitch. So now what we can do is we can pull that down. I'm going to fasten off, and then you can go ahead and sew in your ends. So as always, I like to use the rule of 3. We're going to work one way, back the other way, trying to work through different fibres, and then back the other way. I'm just going to go a little bit higher with this one. Just give that a pull, and then snip off the end. So as I said before, I would just give this one last block. So I would pop it on your blocking mat again and just really pull out this. You're going to get a slight wave here. That is absolutely normal, and I think that adds to the beauty of the pattern. So you're getting a slight curve here, but we do want to kind of accentuate this curve here, so this wavy edge. So I would block it, paying particular attention to those corner stitches, and then just pull out these sections here so that you get your nice wavy edge. So there we go, there is the Cottage Garden placemat and table runner. I really hope that you have enjoyed making this. If you have given this a go, don't forget to tag me on social media. I want to see you making it, I want to see you finishing it. I always love to see your updates. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click that bell button as well, and then you'll be notified of when any of my new videos go live. I have just enabled the membership feature on this channel, so if you want to see videos ahead of everybody else, you can check that out. And if you would really like to make the complete cottage garden table set, then you might want to give these adorable napkin holders a go. They're so quick and easy to make and really finish off this set. So if you do want to make those, then you can go ahead and find that video right here.